You can put her through the exact same workout, same tempo.
Yes.
And she's going to be like, yes, I'm focused. I'm going to do this. With me, she's like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
No.
We all know about that.
No. Okay.
Flex Lewis here, straight out of the lair. Today's podcast, we talk to the power couple who both have Olympia titles in their bios. As far as I know, they're the only couple that can say that. We talk about defending titles, period pains, low T, and the mindset of being a champion. Here's a podcast with the champs, Mark Anthony and Jenn Dorie. We got the double champs here, Mark Anthony, Jenn. You are both, well, you are now what? A week away, 2 weeks away?
2 weeks. 2.5 weeks.
Well, officially this podcast is going to go out the week of. So I'm always confused. It's crazy. This countdown, because I've had you guys in the gym since it's day one.
Yeah.
In fact, you guys have helped build this place, pick boxes up, take shit off you probably remember better than me. Yeah, so you've really seen this gym create itself, turn into what it is, and you guys have been doing your preps. It's amazing how it's gone full circle where you started training here, won the title, and now we're going for number two.
Two titles. It's so crazy.
Oh my gosh. You excited?
So excited. I remember last year you guys got me a little carrot cake after. It was so sweet.
That was nice, yeah.
It was the cutest surprise, yeah.
Pull that little mic a little closer to you, Jenn.
This one?
Yeah, keep going.
Closer?
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Jenn
I
whispers.
talk quiet.
Yeah.
Mark always gets mad. He's like, you talk like a mouse. No one can hear you.
Well, we might have to keep pushing that mic towards you then. No, but we're very proud of you at the you're at the Dragons. Like, everybody is so happy to see not only what you've done and what you've achieved, but because both you guys are very approachable, in the gym. Very blessed with the athletes we have here in Vegas.
Amazing.
And the quality, and again, just how everybody is with their fan base too, because back in the day, I hate to say it, but you go up to some of these pros back in the day, you and I know who these people were. We're probably friends with them now.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't give you, an eye turn.
Yeah.
And I've seen many, girls that have come up to you in the middle of your set, and obviously they're, giving you all the love and all the flowers that deservedly you should have. But how you receive that is amazing too. Very humble champion, very driven. You put the fucking work in, and there's been big improvements that have been made going into this year's Olympia.
I'm excited I'm excited to show off what I've been working on. I kind of got to lay low a little bit, just because I wasn't competing obviously this year, so the hype was away from me, which was kind of nice. I could just work in silence behind the scenes and then pop out like, still here.
I don't know if in your mind you might have done that. You were very active. You were on the road a lot. I did, I know you said that, but I know you and I have had these conversations. Can you explain to the fans what you mean by, having some downtime?
Yeah, so for me, it was just having an off season to rest, to recover, and give my body a chance to come back fresh. Because as athletes, we're always go, 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 and we're so focused on short term, what's in front of us. It's hard to take your emotions out and look longer term. What's going to be the best for longevity in the sport, for your career, for your health, for the overall full package, full picture, not just what you see right here that you want to step on stage. And last year after I won the Olympia, I was like, okay, let's go do the Arnold. It's coming up right next, and then the Olympia was going to be next. And I was like, let's go, go, go. And then Mark and I had to sit down and we were like, what's going to be the ultimate goal for me is to win the Olympia again. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to improve, obviously. So taking that time off was necessary. I know since I turned pro, I really didn't have the opportunity to take the time off and rest because I had to qualify every year. So knowing that I didn't have to qualify this year, it was the perfect time to take an off season, to rest, recover, and make those improvements so I can come back and just blow last year's physique out of the water. But in order to do that, you have to give yourself the time off to rest. You got to eat. You got to gain some body fat and just be okay with it. Embrace it. Love it. Don't worry about it. When it's time to be shredded, you can be shredded. And when it's time to be in your off season, just embrace it however you are and don't be scared to show it off. So I know we had that conversation.
You did. A couple of months ago.
Yeah, a couple of months ago about how, I was very open about my off season and everything because I think it's important to show that the transparency as us as athletes. You know, people see us on stage looking a certain way, but we don't look like that year round. You know, we peak for that. Roa just did my body fat and I was like 8% yesterday. So it's like, people are like, oh, are you like that year round? I'm like, heck no. Like that's for such a short period of time that you guys see that, you know, that we work hard to peak for that day and for that specific time. But in reality, you know, when we have our off seasons or our improvement phase, we're not that lean all the time. So I think it's important for people who are upcoming in the sport to see the reality of it. So they, you know, are in their own heads thinking that they aren't good enough because they don't look like that year round. It's not healthy as a female to be that lean year round. You have to have that rest. You have to have a little bit of body fat on you. So for me, I felt like that was my job and my role as an ambassador for the sport to promote, you know, having a healthy balance in your off season. We like to go on date nights. We like to enjoy good food. Still train heavy, still train hard in my off season. Didn't miss a cardio session, didn't skip a beat. But I did put on some body fat. It was healthy. It was still within a good range. And people can see the improvements that I was able to make by just being consistent doing that.
So do you think that a lot of girls are trying to stay in shape throughout the year to kind of be photograph ready, and it's kind of it's not aiding their improvements on stage?
I think so. I think a lot of people are scared to gain some body fat and some weight because they see a lot of the top people. And I think we're blessed right now that a lot of the top girls, you know, we do show a lot of transparency in our off seasons. You know, we show the thickness and the curves in the off season. And I mean, I personally, I love that physique too. So for me, it's nothing to show that off. And I know there are some people online who are going to make some comments no matter what you look like. So you just kind of have to block it out and just focus on the people that matter and what really matters to you. And if you're in your off season and you're worried about, you know, you have a little bit of extra body fat here and there, you just have to think of what's your long-term goal and why are you doing what you're doing right now. And it's conducive to the long-term goal, so don't worry about it for right now. So I think people try and stay stage lean for too long, and you're not going to add muscle if you're in a deficit all year round.
Same with us bodybuilders, right? I mean, there's so many guys who have tried to stay lean, off-season ready, and unfortunately you gotta get out of that mold. And I tried to have a lean off season one time. I was like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You know, not that I love to eat, but to your point, right? Even when we were in prep, going into Olympias, we still had date nights.
Yeah.
We still made it a point to have a lot of balance in life. And in the off season, then
You know,
you've got to.
You only compete for so long, but the people who are there supporting you, you have to be able to give back to them as well. And you can't ruin your relationships in the process because then you win a title, but then what do you have left?
Exactly.
Right?
But on that topic, because you two are very unique in the sense that you, correct me if I'm wrong, you work together for your prep, right?
Mark's coach, you know, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's very unique. And I know for us, when we did our podcast before, people love to know, like, just how is it to date a competitor, right? That was like our biggest podcast questions of like, what's the struggles? But you guys took it another level. Not only do you have competed or actively compete at the same time, right? It's now
Being to the top. Mark obviously winning the Olympia.
But you both haven't actively competed at the same time.
No.
Right. So you were done, similar to Flex and I. Like I was done, but I was still like involved.
Yes.
So you were there as a support. You knew how to support, right? But like the next level is like coaching it and being that other eye. I mean, I need some insight on that because that's not something we could do.
Yeah, because
not for us.
I couldn't imagine you going, babe, you only eat 100 grams of carbs
Or
today.
vice versa. If you coach me, I don't know. I don't know. Our personalities are very different, I want you to touch on that because that's very unique. That's not something you see in this industry that often, and to be successful. So it's different. Like it's one thing to have, your significant other coach you, but you've done it and succeeded and have gone to the top and won. So explain that, how'd that come about? Because you guys always weren't coaching each other, right? Like you weren't always coaching her.
No.
Right. So,
It comes down to this. It just comes down to respect. And we both really respect each other. She understands her body very, very well, right? So I listen to her, and I was able to observe when we first started, dating, things that worked for her, things that didn't work for her, things she liked, things that she didn't like. And with me, my personality sometimes on a regular, generally, my delivery sometimes doesn't sound, too
His
attractive.
delivery sucks.
Yes.
Most
Right?
of the time.
So
It's very harsh.
Being with her for years, I know how to deliver a message now or make a suggestion. And that's why when people ask if I'm coaching her, I say, I'm her coach, her husband, her supporter, but we do this together, right?
We do. It's really like you said, I know my body well, so I'm also obviously a coach as well, so is he. So I take what I've learned from years of working with prior coaches and knowing my body, and we just do it together. So we kind of bounce things back off one another. So if I'm like, I think, I think I'm on track, he would be like, nah, like, I think we got to pick it up. Or like, I think you're ahead, let's slow down. You're getting in your head, Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like having that second eye, and we can bounce ideas off each other. I'm like, what do you think about increasing my cardio to this? And he'll be like, yes or no for the final call. So we can kind of bounce it off one another like that. We still do check-ins like normal. I take my check-ins every morning. We have a WhatsApp group chat. I send him the check-ins there, and if I show him in person, he's like, send it in the group chat.
Wow.
I'm like, just sit down and look at it. Because this way we have everything on file and on record to go back for
so we can compare. I watch her actually do it, and then she'll send it in the group chat. And then when I'm by myself, I can look at it and really kind of analyze and go over what we discussed prior.
Yeah.
His responses are so funny. It's so professional. And I'm like,
but it's such a unique relationship because you're ultimately separating, your relationship and the relationship you have going into the show, right?
You have to, yeah.
And
it's
that is
important.
It's very difficult though.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Because there's you accepting it, and then there's you accepting it, because you could say something harsh to her, which again, I don't know what goes on behind closed door. Of course, I'm sure it has. And as a coach, you have to tell your clients what they don't want to hear, not just what they want to hear, what they don't want to hear. And because you have to go to bed together, and because you don't have a pregnancy pillow like me to sleep and surround yourself from hands coming over. You told me earlier I can only have 50 grams of carbs tomorrow.
See, the good thing about me is like I'm a hard worker. I'm not scared to suffer and to put in the work. So he knows that like I'm probably harder on myself than he is on me. So anything that he's gonna say, I've already said worse to myself, and I've already like thought harder thoughts on myself. So the only thing is sometimes he might be a little bit like reserved with what he wants to say, because he's like, I want to say something, but like I don't want you to get upset or something.
Right. And I'll explain it to her that way.
Yes.
We kind of went through that a little bit last year, and he was like, I wanted to say things at a certain point, but like I didn't want to upset you. But now, like, I'm not going to hold. I was like, don't worry about hurting my feelings, because I'd rather have him hurt my feelings off stage than go on stage not ready.
Absolutely.
And my feelings are going to be way more hurt if I go on stage not looking good.
And we've had situations like that where, there are times where I could have been a little bit more, not harsh, but bold.
Yeah.
And now she's kind of giving me the green light to go there, because she knows it's coming from a place of love and strategy. So we just have that connection where like, I'm thinking it, she's saying it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
the only thing is that in-person training he gets mad at me for, because
well, here's the funny thing.
Come on, dish it out. I want to hear this shit.
Yeah, here's the funny thing.
Okay, let's go.
I can put her through a workout program that day. Okay, we're doing quads and glutes, whatever. You can put her through the exact same workout, same tempo.
Yes.
And she's gonna be like, yes, I'm focused. I'm gonna do this. With me, she's like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, we all know about that.
No. Okay.
I don't want to do that exercise. I want to do this one. I'm like, okay.
I'm obviously, as an athlete, your body the best, and I know certain things that I want to stay away from, or that if I'm not trying to do certain movements to stay away from, or if I don't feel something in the right place, maybe doing a certain type of deadlift, you feel too much in your lower back, that's not for me, right? So he likes to just pick the movements that I hate, or that and it's not even because they're hard. Like it's movements that like I dislike, because like I don't feel it in the right place. Or it's like, people use the belt squat and they like to do deadlifts. I hate it. I don't feel it in my glutes or hamstrings. I feel it all lower back. So I'm like, let's use a barbell or dumbbells instead. So he'll be like, oh, let's do this. I'm like, no, let's not. Let's do this. And then he'll be like, okay, well, let's do this. I'm like, no, let's not. And then he's like, okay, well, then what do you want to do? Just tell me, because you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not that she's not being compliant. It's, she has a reason for not wanting.
Compliant.
Yeah, she hates that word.
No.
Fall in line.
He says, don't resist.
I'm using these sound bites. You know that, right? Don't resist, Jen.
I'm not being compliant.
Oh my gosh.
Embrace the work, okay?
Yeah.
That's what it says on your t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's what it says on the t-shirt. You got to work smart though.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this though. When I was training with Neil, there was a sort of a systematic approach for me that I would do the same exercise that I loved, right? And then Neil come along and be like, hey, I want you to do this and this. And then I find myself being like, yeah, but I don't get shit from it.
Right.
Yeah.
But
his response was, that's
I
why
give
we're
a
doing
fuck.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's also because, and that's why we're doing it.
And that's what we're doing.
There's
But then
both sides.
it's like, I can relate to you. I can also relate to Neil. So there's fine. Sometimes I've done things and I may have shied away from them for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that wasn't actually that hit. But then I've done them and I'm going, mate, my lower back is fucked. I know I can't train back. The entire, my legs, my lower back's pumped up and I'm doing legs or something like that. But that's why it's great to kind of have that feedback coach to athlete. And I'm not the one, and I know you're not the same way, to shy away from anything strenuous or hard. You wouldn't be where you are if you were.
Exactly.
So
I'll do the hard stuff.
Of course.
And I respect that. I know when she says that she doesn't want to do something, it's because she's not really feeling it in the right place. But I'm more of like, I like to do a lot of compound movements, and I need to know that it's time for more detail work right now.
Okay.
Right?
Just for me, because I have the muscle and I'm not trying to get any more muscle, that sometimes too much compound lifts is not really what I need to do in my program. So if he wants to do like, we'll do a squat movement, then he'll be like, oh, let's do pendulum squat. Okay, let's do like hack squat now. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm not going to do 2 in a row. And then he'll be like, oh, well, then what are we going to do? So then it's like that. And then we'll just like banter back and forth. But we can turn around and just be like, give each other a kiss, shake it off, and that's what it is.
That's how we conclude the workout. So.
Good.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We didn't.
He won't train me.
No, I won't, for reasons, because she won't leave it there. She'll
That's
take you
not true.
home.
Really?
That's not.
Yes,
it
it is. Tennessee,
10 years ago.
Florida.
We've been married. We've been together for 10 years.
How many
Things
workouts have I
changed.
put you through?
I don't know, like a handful.
How many times you yelled at me?
I didn't yell at you.
How many times did you yell at me outside the gym, on the way home, in the house?
No, that's not true.
That's why you guys got to take separate cars.
Yeah,
We do.
no, we do.
We do now, but I'm still not training anymore.
No.
No, we had a lot of fun. When we dated, first of all, she was like, can I train with you? I was like, and then I was like, nice in the workout. And then Olympia comes. I'm like, we're on the road. I'm going to jump in with you. I was like, no.
No, so this would happen when he would come to Florida visit me. I would be allowed to train with him, and all I was bad fucking cop. All these people that would come up to him in these gyms before we owned our gym, you know what I mean? Because he was visiting. He's like, yeah, sure, you can train with me today. I'm like, then I was catching up. I'm like, well, I'm just a bad cop. You know what I mean? I'm standing here to make sure that people don't come on, like, interrupt him in the middle. And I'm like, I don't want to train with you anymore. I take it back.
But going back to the training. So, Mark, do you do Jen's off-season training too, or just the nutrition side of things?
So year round, we do
wow.
it together.
We do everything,
we do everything together. We work together. We hang out.
Yep.
We do a lot of things together.
Same as us.
Yeah.
So you guys sit down and map out a off-season, pre-contest, on the training. So what was your focus with Jenn going into this year's Olympia compared to last year?
So particularly this off season, we wanted to just keep her body weight about 8 to 10 pounds under what she was prior, which she did a great job at doing. She still was able to put on some body fat, which was, conducive for her making improvements to put on more tissue in the right places, right? Yeah. Our focus
staying under 140.
Yeah.
125 was my stage weight last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
124 right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she's ahead, yeah. Wow. And she usually would go up to about 150 in the off season, but like even, right? It wasn't like body fat and problem areas. And so we decided to stay around 140 this year. She did cardio every 5 days a week, sometimes 6 in the off season, never missed. She stayed on a structure meal plan or, with macros if she needs to replace a meal throughout the week. And Saturday night, we'd go on date nights, Barry's, one of our favorite
Love
places.
Yeah. Shout out to Barry's.
Shout out to Barry's.
The best.
And Sunday, she would have, some sort of snack that she wanted. But, I have to give her credit because she didn't skip a beat. We put the plan together. And what I love about her when it comes to the competing business is that this is not her identity. Her identity is not being Miss Olympia. She knows who she is, and she wants to be just better than who she was before. Like, she roots for all the girls that she competes with, because there are times where she didn't even place first place, but she was rooting for the first place winner. And, me to be able to observe that is really admirable. So getting down to business when she had the year to rest, and she did have FOMO because she wanted to compete. You know, we would.
The Arnold, I wanted to compete so bad. I remember we decided not to do it, and I didn't like submit my application. And then Lloyd calls me, and he's like, "Hey, champ, like I don't have your name on the list. Do you want me to add it?" And I was like,
No.
I was like, he's like, "You're not doing it," and I was like, "No." And then I was like, I came back to, I was like, you know, maybe should we rediscuss? Like, he was like, "No, like you don't do it. Trust me." Yeah. Just because I knew that if we had have done the Arnold, I would have been able to win the Arnold. There's that chance, obviously. Of course, I would have been going for that.
You would have.
Would I have?
You say yes. Yes. You're the champ.
Yes.
The only thing that I was saying was I don't know if I would have been able to improve from the Olympia to the Arnold, knowing that I was already in a deficit for quite a while that year. I'd already been doing a string of shows. I was pretty tired. I was pretty low. So to improve into the Arnold, I don't know if I would have been able to improve. My body would have been tired. I don't think I would have been able to improve. I probably would have been able to bring the same package. So if other people had that level up to improve, that might have given them
I agree.
something on me. Would I have been able to win? Probably. I'm going to say yes because I know that's what you want me to say. But
you see how she is?
Yeah.
Well, I just know the competition is, especially right now, it's, you know, we're all like neck to neck. It's all like tossing a coin basically between us because everyone is that good right now. And I wanted to get ahead for this year to be that much better. And I knew if I did the Arnold, you know, could I win the Arnold? Yes. But then for Olympia, my goal is to win my second Olympia title. Ultimately, that's the number one goal for me. As much as I would love to win a second Arnold title, the Olympia was my number one goal that I had. So in order to be better for Olympia, I had to sacrifice sitting out the Arnold, which would give me a chance of an off season. Because if I did the Arnold, I wouldn't have had an off season. So if I did the Arnold, I would have rolled straight into Olympia prep and not had any rest.
Did you do the Arnold the same year that you won the Olympia?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Back to back.
I'd done the same thing.
Because of COVID, they had pushed it back. It was
September,
end of September,
and then
October.
October.
Crazy times too. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. So
you guys just got in on that show too. Bro. No fans, nothing. What a time.
Yeah.
What a time. And for you guys, again, going back and revisiting that that era, what a prep of unknowns. You are busting your ass. You guys are putting it all in. And next thing is like, is it on? Is it off? Is it on? Is it off? Mm-hmm. You get there, it's off, it's back on again. Yeah. Crazy. So to have that mindset, the stress that went along with that, and then get up on stage and look the way you did, and then, you know, back to back that same year, I've done it, and that was a hard year of prep. So I think you've done a great job of sitting it out. You've done the best business decision. I sat out the following year after winning the back-to-backs. And my full focus was the Olympia that year to make the improvements. Yeah. And for me, obviously, I got a weight limit to make. So it allowed me to get closer to the weight limit. Right. So then 1 or 2 pounds, as you know, make a massive difference. Oh, yeah.
Huge difference.
On anybody's frame. But now, obviously, you are coming in much more improved. So the areas that you have been working on, which is what you brought up that the fans can expect now, what are the areas?
So I think the biggest thing for us from last year's feedback at most of the shows was just conditioning. For me, that's always the feedback, just because naturally I'm not skinny, I'm not ectomorph, I never will be. It's just not my body type. I'm endo-meso, so I put on muscle fast, but I also put on fat very easily. Okay. I was like chubby all my childhood growing up. Mm-hmm. So it's just easy for me to gain body fat. So that's why my focus this off season was staying a little bit leaner. So when I did have to cut down, I didn't have to cut down as much and as hard. Mm-hmm. The muscle, I always stay pretty round and full. And even if I'm like super low on food, I still look super round and full. So just conditioning was the biggest thing, like little fine tuning details in my legs. I hadn't been training my legs for like the past 3 years or so, just trying to atrophy my quads to keep the balance. And then now that I had brought them down so much, I was like, you know, I think we're almost lacking details. So we had spoke about it and we decided after the Arnold, actually, we started training quads again. She
wasn't training quads because her quads were dominant. Mm-hmm. And she was like in a string of shows, like really since 2018, sorry.
My pro debut.
Yeah. All the way to, 2021. She was doing like 3 shows a year. And
at least.
Yeah. Her body was tired. Yeah. And I know she was mentally tired, but she's such a trooper. She's like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. So this year really gave her a chance to like rest, recover. And, her internal health was very important to me and her, of course. So, with regular blood work we were doing with Transcend, and her blood work was coming back pristine.
Which is another thing that I think a lot of people don't take care of is like your internal health, and you can't wait until something's wrong or you don't feel good to go get blood work done. You should be on top of blood work, especially as an athlete. Like
Preach.
Every 4 months, before you start a prep, before you even think about starting a prep, get your blood work done. Make sure everything is pristine, like within range, all like nothing's high, nothing's low, everything's good. Make sure your food intake is high, your cardio is low, mentally and physically you're ready to prep. Because if not, how can you, where are you going to go from there? You're already 6 feet in the ground. You're just going to keep digging that hole deeper. It's, you have to have, you have to have ammo left in the tank to pull out when you're in your prep, So for me, that was keeping a leaner off season, focusing on those details, bringing up the details of my legs a little bit, and mainly just condition was the focus. So getting ready early. We started my prep 20 weeks out. But
so,
I had
softly, like 30 weeks out, like, just getting into the structure, and then 20 weeks
32.
out. Yeah, 32 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, 20 would be mine.
Yeah.
Usually I do 16.
Right.
But I was like, I also know that my first show is not usually my best. So planning ahead for that and being realistic with myself that I didn't want to show up like almost there. There's only one Olympia this year. So it's like I have no choice but to show up at 110% there.
So we did like a mock peak.
Yeah.
6 weeks out or 4 weeks out. Yeah.
So what does that look like? If you don't mind sharing that for the fans.
I mean...
we didn't really. We were planning to that, but we didn't really.
Well, we did it for Pittsburgh for Road to Olympia.
I don't know if I would call it a full-on peak. We kind of did. We did like a
mini
like
cut.
A carb up.
Yeah, like a mini cut.
Oh, okay.
We just wanted to be ready a little bit early was the plan, and we were thinking around like 3-4 weeks out, be ready, and about. I mean, I'm pretty much ready now. I'm already more conditioned than I was last year on stage. So.
Yeah, when I say a mock peak, we didn't do it like it was a show day.
Yeah.
But we got it to a place that we were comfortable. That if we were to increase our carbs to see how our body responded,
speed it up, slow it down.
Yeah. And I don't play with like water and sodium. As a bikini athlete, you want to be round and full, and
hydrated.
Like have water in your face, have water in your muscles. You don't want to look striated and dry and grainy. That's not the look we're going for. It's like having full round muscles and feminine look. So I never cut my water. I never cut my sodium. Sodium and water stays the same going into the show. Just maybe the day of the show I don't drink as much, so I don't have to run to the bathroom when I'm on stage type of thing, but that's pretty much it.
And our focus was really to complete the legs, the glutes, hamstrings.
Just conditioning.
Conditioning.
The balance was already there. The muscle was there. It's just...
So not necessarily when she was hitting a pose, you can see like, oh, her quads look harder or something. But more when she was in her transition or walking into poses, you could see the lines, you know what I mean, as she was moving.
Right.
And we've achieved that for sure.
Are you fighting hard with seeing change? Because with bodybuilding, right? You look at the evolution of bodybuilding. It's gone from being Arnold to then being the biggest, hardest, striated guy on stage. Bigger the better. And conditioning, obviously, then on the bigger guys. Compared to when myself and Ali, when we first started dating, you were competing, or just finished competing. That Generation 1 bikini look is completely different to the look now.
Yes.
What I was fearing a couple of years ago was, and I'm so glad to see girls now like yourself, winning the shows at the Olympia and having this look and just hearing what you've already said. Because again, the evolution to anything is get harder, drier, tighter, and then where does it go? Extreme, right?
Yeah.
And are you fighting against that change? You feel it, or are you going up on that stage being like, this is the look this is the best look that I'm going to bring, and this is what I believe is bikini?
Yes. Or
you have a guideline that is changing every year?
So I think one, we always have the criteria that we have to follow for bikini. That's balance, symmetry, and shape. They don't want to see striations and too much conditioning, but they also don't want us to be too soft. So it's hard, when you think from a judging perspective, because even us as fans of the sport, when we watch and we see, it's hard to not be wowed by the most craziest physique. That's the hardest, that's the leanest, that's the most shredded. But then you have to roll it back a little bit and think like, okay, what is the criteria that I'm looking for? Because someone who's the most shredded might look the most impressive at first glance, but then you have to remember what's the criteria. And most shredded is not the criteria to win bikini.
Yep.
So as much as my focus is on conditioning, it's not about being the most shredded, it's about being the most balanced physique up there, the most symmetrical, top to bottom, front to back. That's complete overall look that matches the criteria the best that I can. I'm not trying to change the look from last year because that was the look that won. It's just refining that package. And like you said, like bringing what I feel is the bikini look, and I feel like the look that I'm bringing is worthy of a second Olympia title. So
that's what Jennifer and I discussed. Like the decision we made on the look is not like you'll see a lot of girls. Like I go backstage and I'm like, man, this girl is like, she looks like she's gonna die, you know. And Jenn,
don't say that.
You know, with the condition, babe. So Jenn is like blessed with like round shoulders and round glutes. And I said, listen, let's get your best look that you love, right?
Yeah.
Within the guidelines. And that's what we did.
Exactly.
We're definitely pushing the conditioning a bit for me this year.
Yeah.
But I'm someone who can come in at a lower body fat and leaner just because naturally I have thick skin. I have a lot of collagen in my skin. So my legs are always going to have that thicker skin. I'm never going to have like a grainy look to my legs. Even if I'm like 5% body fat, it's just not going to look like that because one, I have young skin, but I just have thick skin.
Got you.
And I have such round muscles in my shoulders and my glutes and everything that even if I'm like super conditioned, I won't look sharp and pointy and hard. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's a blessing and a curse because it means that I have to work that much harder to get conditioned because it's not what comes easy to me. But at the same time, I do have more room to play with conditioning that I can come in leaner and still have that full round look, whereas some girls might come in, aim for the conditioning, and then they miss the mark on the fullness and roundness.
Got you.
Well, talking about, I'm going to bring up that you said thick skin. I know you meant literally, but you know, in 2018, you placed 10th?
10th.
And that's just crazy to me that in a short time you go to win it, right? Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing I think with bikini is that doesn't necessarily happen in other divisions is that, you know, from one year to the next, it could be a new winner, not because, like you said, you know, you were totally off. Yeah. It's they either just wanted a little bit different of a look, but like you said, everyone looks great. Like the top four in, you know, if you put 4 people here, they could each pick a top number one,
of course,
and not because like you're way off or whatever. It's just it's like it's that subjectiveness. So
that's
that
very
thick
close.
skin, and it's subjective. The sport in general is subjective, of course, but unlike bodybuilding, where it's like it's obvious his biceps are way bigger. You know, that's not how it is with that division. So I think, you know, touching on like your mindset of like how'd you go from taking 10th, you know, to then in such a short period of time, was that 3 years, right? 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, that was my
on your fourth year, right?
Olympia.
You know, getting number one, that's not easy. You know, you see, for example, Janet, who was always second, right? And so she finally got it. And so what's your mindset when you go there and you get that placing and then, you know, in X years time, like, you know, what's changed?
Honestly, I'm happy that it happened the way it did just because I think it gave me a chance to grow into the champion that I am today. And I think that if I had have won any earlier, I wouldn't have been ready for it. So placing 10th, my first Olympia, that was my pro debut that I got to Olympia, my first year as a pro. I was just happy to be there. I was like, I don't care if I placed dead last. Like I made it to Olympia stage. This is amazing. So to place in the top 10 for me, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, right?
2018, right?
2018,
I remember.
And then the next year I placed 5th. And I was like beyond ecstatic to have placed in that top 5, like in those awards with all the other girls. It was incredible. And then the next year I placed 2nd, and I was almost like, holy shit, I just placed 2nd. Like I was like, did that just happen? Like I almost was like surprised by it. So I think that I'm glad that I didn't win that year. That was the year that Janet won, actually. Yeah. She looked amazing that year. That was by far her best. And I'm glad I didn't win that year because I don't think I was ready for it. And I needed that year to develop into like becoming a champion in my mind first before I could actually be a champion on stage. And just, we had talked about just like embodying being Miss Olympia before I became Miss Olympia. You know, I always think of Angelica because she will forever be, you know, the best representation of the sport in my eyes. Yes. I love her. Yeah. So I always think, you know, what would Angelica do? And that's like, she's always been a role model for me. So I if I could have half the impact that she does on people, then I will be satisfied. You know? So
that's a great role model. I've traveled the world with Angelica and Marco.
An incredible person.
They're awesome.
Just, I think, obviously it was Courtney. Courtney was a great ambassador too. And then
she's great too, yeah.
I traveled with both them girls, but a little bit more with Angelica, and obviously knowing her story of her picking up, what is it, a Muscle and Fitness, hers, in this grocery store, couldn't speak English, and then a number of years later, she's on that cover of that exact magazine that's being sold in that grocery store, speaking in English and talking to all the people who are still there. I mean, that's one of many stories, but to have a role model like that now, and girls now are looking up to you and saying the same thing, that's what I love about yourself, is you've embodied great attributes from certain people, guys and girls, and then you put them into yourself and created your own. You know, there's only one Jenn, right? Yeah. And with that being said, you know, I want to take it right back to something you said earlier. You said you grew up and you were a big kid. Is that correct? I don't want to. I'm picking my words carefully.
I'm not going to say like I was obese because obviously I have a small frame, but I was always like chubby. I have a twin sister, and I was always like, "How come you're skinny and I'm not?"
Yeah, like, that was my role. You kind of took that out of my mouth. So you got a twin sister that you guys are identical.
We're fraternal.
Okay.
She was here. I don't know if you got to see her when she was here.
I saw her when she was
you
here.
Met her, yeah. She was here about a month ago, maybe. Yeah. She'll be coming back for Christmas with my mom. So
right. Do you girls? Okay. Explain to me what is. What did you say? Fraternal?
Yeah, so they're not identical.
Fraternal,
they look similar, but not
so
like.
She has straight hair. Actually, I have curly hair.
No way.
Yeah, she's the only person in my family with straight hair. My mom has curly hair. My brother, my dad, me all have curly hair.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So fraternal means there's 2 eggs.
Yeah.
Versus
one egg.
Identical would be 1 egg.
Right. So, at what age did you get sucked into the fitness industry?
I would say when I was about like maybe 15 or so was when I started like. Maybe a little bit younger. I think just like in high school when I was like in grade 9, like I think I was probably 13, 14, started like working out because I had like exercise science classes and I would take like a fitness class. There was like a weight training class you could do in high school, and I just enjoyed it with my friends. And then I started going to the gym, just do cardio and that stuff. And then, you know, I would tag along. And then I started training with my sister. We would go to local LA Fitness after school. I think I was like 15 at the time, and just every day we would just go and just lift as heavy as we could. Like I would follow bodybuilding.com. Dana Lynn Bailey was my ultimate inspiration. Like I would follow everything of hers. I was obsessed in love with her. She still is one of my ultimate inspirations.
Awesome.
And funny is she's like, Dana Lynn is like encouraging Jenn and commenting on her stuff.
I said to him the other day, I was like, it'll never not blow my mind when she comments my photo, like rooting for you. I'm like,
so cool.
She's got a crazy impact. Amazing.
Yeah, she was incredible. I used to print out her workouts on bodybuilding.com, bring it to the gym with me, and like follow her shoulder workouts and stuff. So I was just training just to get back into it, and just because I like to see how things change. And I just had a great community at the gym that I went to, where I made a lot of friends. It was something social for me. Every day after school, we would just go to the gym and train. And then someone who was a competitor at my gym, he was a men's physique athlete. He was like, you know, what are you training for? You're here every day. You train so hard. Like, are you doing competition? I was like, what's a competition? Like, I had no clue. And he was like telling me to look it up. And I think I was 17 at that time.
Such a chat up line from that guy too. such a move to it.
I know,
right?
Hey,
you should compete. You look good
in the gym.
Yeah.
No. He actually said, you know, I'm not trying to hit on you.
Oh yeah, that's another fucking red flag right there. By the way,
Cosmo, if you're watching this, no,
we're on to you, Cosmo.
He was the least creepy person ever. To this day, we still keep in touch, which is cool. That, you know, he was the one who kind of like encouraged me to get started with it. And I was like, okay, well, I have to be 18 to compete, so I'm just going to basically keep my head down and work, and when I turn 18, I'll be able to compete. And I competed my first show. I won the overall. I won like a sponsorship and stuff. Wow. And then I won every show that I did that year, and I just kind of kept going from there.
Tell them how you used to prep with your jobs in university. In the snow.
Yeah, it was a lot. At the time, I was in university full time.
In Canada.
In Canada. Yeah. I had my degree in kinesiology, so I was in university. I also worked part-time at a supplement store and part-time for my coach who was coaching me for online coaching as well. And I would commute to school. So I would get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning in the snow, and I would like walk to the bus stop with like all my bags for like a 18-hour day. Take the bus down to the gym. I would go do my fasted cardio. I would get ready there, leave my bag in the locker for when I come back that night, take the bus to school. I'd be at school from like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in all my classes, and then I would bus straight to work, be at work from like 4:30 to 9 p.m. Yep, I had Bulldog in Canada. And then at 9 p.m., I'd take my pre-workout just before I was closing up shop. I'd take the bus, or my mom would pick me up, drop me off at the gym.
Wow.
I would train at the LA Fitness again, be back there at like 10 o'clock at night before they closed, come home, and then
do it all over.
Do my homework, meal prep, and do it all over again. And that's...
Wow.
See, that's the groundwork that has installed your championship mindset.
And that's what a lot of people don't see is that, you know, like, of course, now I have the luxury of living a life that we've created that I'm very fortunate to have. You know, the hours, I make my own hours. You know, I train at whatever time I choose to. I get to wake up without an alarm. I hate waking up early, so thank goodness for that. But, you know, I had to put in the work to get there, obviously. And, you know, those times I didn't even think twice about it. It was just, there was no chance to mess up your schedule or be off track, because if I wasn't up when my alarm went off, like I wouldn't make it on time to do my cardio, and then I wouldn't make it on time for my classes. And, you know, I was like a straight A honor roll student all the way through, so that was important to me.
You're just in a routine. You missed one beat, and all the cards fall, and that's Olympia prep.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get up at a certain time. You don't hit that first, the cardio, the meal. Then you've got, you know, what now you have mentioned also compared to back then is things have been interchanged. So now you've got your businesses. You guys have both got your businesses as well as your individual businesses. And I've seen, you know, a lot of the girls that you both are looking after, and you've got a great coaching business also. And along with all the other things, I don't know if there's anything you want to talk about with the businesses with what you got coming in. I see Mark's rocking a new shirt, which is probably soaked out already.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
These are the Olympia shirts. You guys can't see the back right now, but yeah, so I am releasing these actually tonight or tomorrow, just once everything gets finalized on the site. So by the time the video's out, you guys will be able to purchase them, and I'm going to have them at the meet and greet as well for the Olympia. Okay. Yeah. That way I can sign them in person and whatnot. Yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff coming up next year.
We're cooking up some stuff.
Yeah, working on it.
Some stuff.
A lot of things you can't talk about. Which I've already asked the viewers, what can we talk about? Well, we can't talk about some stuff. Which
the focus right now is just on winning the Olympia, and then we'll shift our focus to once I have a little bit more time in my off season to have more brain power. But right now it's just, you know how it is those last few weeks. I'm like, the only energy I have is for one thing a day, and it's like my workout. And if I even have to go to the mall to pick something up, I'm like, oh, this is draining.
I know that feeling.
Like to even go to the grocery store, I'm like Instacart.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. Even though we're not done, I'm not closing out right here. I haven't even talked to Mark, but I know there's when you're prepping and you're that low, you're that focused. That focus alone, just you getting up and going like, okay, this is it, you know, and you have that talk to yourself, whether you're jumping on that cardio piece. I mean, I don't know if you guys do what I did. I would be so fucked, wouldn't I? And I put my shoes on, and I'm thinking, it's just like 4 weeks out, this is only going to go worse. And then she'll come and she'll be like, you got this, babe. And that was enough for me. Yeah. That was like my cup of coffee right there. She would say something, and it wouldn't be like, you know, again, if you're not dating somebody who's not gone through it, they don't understand. They don't understand. But she'd be like, I know it's tough, babe. You got this. Or whatever, you exchange them conversations.
He does that often, where he'll see that I'm like struggling. I mean, I don't show it. Like I'll hold it together. And even the other day, I was like, you know, I'm barely holding on. I'm like juggling a million things right now, and I'm like, it's a lot. And he's like, really? Like I didn't even know.
She never shows it.
So like he doesn't know, but sometimes
I do
he can
too.
tell. Sometimes he can tell that like I'm having a tough day, and he'll just be like, I'm proud of you, baby. Don't worry, you're gonna keep going. And like when we're training, he'll always be like, every rep, like, you're the best, baby. Come on, let's go. You want to win. You want this. Like things like that. Every rep, when you're like, you want to quit, and they say something like that, it's like 2-time. Let's go. Yeah, no. You know, you're gonna work so much harder. Saying the right things at the right time, right? Yeah. Because it's all very well having a great cheerleader too, but because you have that relationship as coach and relationship, it's saying the right things as the husband at the right time, at the coach at the right time, and not saying the wrong things at the wrong time too, because you know emotion can take a part, and you know she might have or he might have, you know, and you'd be like, yeah, I know it was in prep. I'd be like, who moved my shaker cup from here to here? Who? I'm not like that. I am. No, not that bad.
Her spirit is always really like pretty relaxed. Over the past 5 years, she has not been grouchy throughout a prep. She just does what she has to do. It's crazy. I tell people are like, oh, how do you guys do that? I'm like, listen, she's just super chill. Yeah, she just gets the job done.
I just do what I got to do. I always say, like, don't think, just do. Because if you think about it, you'll convince yourself you're too tired, you're too hungry, you're exhausted, and you believe what your brain tells you and what you think. So I don't even think about it. I just get shit done, and that's it.
And though I've been through it a lot before, and I that's why she respects, and like you guys as well. I learned this from her. I learned a lot from her, but this is what I've learned from her. If you tell yourself you're tired, you're going to convince yourself you're tired. You're not going to do your cardio or your workout with conviction. You know?
I agree.
Babe, do you remember that motivational thing? The Kobe Bryant one. I'm obsessed with Kobe Bryant. I love Kobe Bryant. I listen, like when I'm doing cardio, I listen to like podcasts of him or just like his motivational speeches and stuff all the time. And that is like kind of what gets me going. A couple weeks ago, I was just in the kitchen before my cardio sessions at night, and I'd be like playing like Machiavelli motivation or like it'd be like these Kobe Bryant motivational videos, and he'd be like, I can tell you're getting in the zone. There was this one and he was like, I don't get tired. Tired is in the mind. You tell yourself you're tired, you're going to be tired. Yeah. And he was laughing. He was like, I'm going to take a picture of you when you're sleeping tonight, like, and put that on it, saying, I don't get tired. Tired is in the mind.
She'll wake up. I'm sure. I'm not sleeping. I'm just resting my eyes. I'm thinking.
No, I love my sleep. I need my sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. I encourage her to sleep as much as she can, and that's one of I think one of the most underrated things in bodybuilding or in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We make sure she gets a lot of rest. Even like peak week, she's super relaxed.
I don't nap.
Yeah.
I hate taking naps. I feel like I have way too much to get done in my day that I have to be productive every second of my day to get everything done. So I'm like, a nap is a waste of time.
With 2 kids, what's a nap?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm not a napper either.
No, you're not.
I just feel like it's a waste of time. Then you wake up, you're groggy, you're like all out. If I ever fall asleep and I wake up, I'm like, oh great.
No,
now
he's
I'm
like a
don't know
10 minutes. I'm good.
I have a
I'm gonna take a 10-minute nap. I'm like,
yeah, but what them are few and far
I'm not
between
waking
though.
back up.
Yeah,
No,
I can
but
honestly
he can do it though.
I done it today.
Yeah, I know, but it's amazing that you could just like shut off
He
and then
does it
wake
too,
up.
yeah.
I can do it too.
Yeah,
I was like, wake me up in 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, what's the point? Just don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but
It works for me. Yeah.
And I wouldn't even call her a nap, but she's like sure. So she was doing her makeup, and we were ready to leave the same time, and I was ready to rock, ready to get out the door, and I said, just wake me up in 10 minutes. I'm going to lie you on the bed. And she doesn't even say it to me anymore. It's like,
No, I don't wake him up.
But I'm a different person, right?
Yeah, no, he did that 5, 10, 15. There's different intervals, but like he could do 10, 15 minutes easily.
But if I go an hour, I'm into deep REM, I feel, and I can't then.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
it's
nothing
too
worse.
much.
Too
You
much.
wake
Yeah.
up, it's like 5 p.m. You're like, what day is
Yeah.
it? Like, where am I? Who am I? Like,
The worst is when you're overseas, which I know all of us have done
oh
that.
my gosh.
And it's like, I'm just
Jet
going to take
lag.
it. Just wake me up in 30 minutes.
No,
and then
don't do it.
3, 4, 5 hours later,
Like-
and it's like 4 a.m. or something, and whatever it is, or 4 p.m.
Yeah.
You're just messed up. But Mark, what year did you come to the US?
I came in 2010.
And you came, but originally you're from Trinidad Tobago,
Yeah, I
right?
was born in Trinidad and Tobago. In 1989, when I was 9 years old, I moved to Canada with my
Yeah.
family to have a more, progressive life,
Yeah.
more opportunity. And I really enjoyed growing up in Canada, but, I love living here in the U.S. It's this is where a lot of opportunities, but a lot of my success and I felt like I built myself here in Vegas.
Yeah, you've definitely done a great job
Thank you, man.
of establishing yourself in Las Vegas.
I moved to Florida for a couple of years.
I
Remember?
know, which was shocked
Yeah,
me.
I remember that.
Shocked me, yeah.
I forgot, but I remember.
Yeah, you working in the Polo Club, right?
Yes, I was working at the Polo
Yeah.
Club in Boca.
Yeah, exactly.
I loved it.
I know you did. Yeah, you had some great clients.
Yeah, great
How I
clients.
know, because you physically, when we met up a couple of times out there, trained together,
Yeah.
Athletic Factor,
Uh-huh.
you said, I love it. I love it out here. And then you were there for how many years?
I was there for a total of about 2 years.
Okay.
And I wanted to take that job because I wanted to be better at training rehab clients, and it was an elderly community that I was training. A lot of snowbirds from New York, in the Jewish community, which
Was that your client,
yeah,
Marilyn?
Tobel, yeah. I'm still friends with her, and she's wild. But I learned a lot from that experience and from the people that I got to engage with there and build relationships with there. Some of them have passed away, which is upsetting. But I thoroughly remember, and my time there was great. Yeah.
Because we met, what year was that? 2016 or 15?
I don't know if we had Addie. It had to be
You hadn't had Addie yet.
No. Oh, I was
then
more.
2014 or 13.
Okay.
14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a couple of training sessions together
yeah.
back out then. And you won 2015?
13.
2013.
Yeah,
Okay. So it's around about that time frame. I think so.
Yeah.
Because you and I were, I can't remember if you were training for something big or you were doing something as a follow-up, but you put a lot of good size on.
Yeah, 2013, when I won, it was a much different look than it is now.
Yeah.
You know?
Same like bikini, right?
And like we discussed, you know, every year the guys get a little bit bigger, they get a little bit sharper, they get a little bit harder. And at the time, George Farrow was my coach, and he's extremely conservative. He's very health conscious. And I just listened to whatever he told me to do. I remember Big Steve Weinberger telling me, don't get any bigger. And, you know, I was 189 pounds when I won the Olympia. And progressively after that, the guys just got huge. So
you were going to jump to classic.
Yeah. You know, I wanted to, my dream was to be a bodybuilder. So classic was probably the closest thing based on my genetics, right?
Yeah.
And I just really loved that division when it came out. And I was, you know, really entertaining coming back, and had a good talk with my dear friend Jay Cutler, and he says, the dream is over.
Jay, I can see Jay saying that. Jay is great at
keeping it real.
Yeah. And also it's like, your ship has sailed.
Yeah.
I think what happened also with Jay is once we've all, well, you were in that now prime. You're in the walls, and you know you're in there.
Yeah. When
you kind of step out, which you and I have, all three of us, I'm sorry, certain things in life starts, you know, life happens in a good way.
Start taking more priority.
Things start happening, or you can do things that you couldn't do when you were in prep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean to say that you can't do them because of Jenn, but, you know, there's this I would say it's more of a new lease of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because Jay, I mean, he was like the ultimate monk, right?
Yes.
You know, eat, sleep, train, didn't have much of a social life, if any.
Yeah.
And you knew him back then more than I did, and I knew him, you know, decently well. But he was the ultimate champion. Yeah, and he only came out to surface for certain things, you know. He didn't do anything that didn't fall in line with getting closer to that title or defending that title. And so for him, when I started having these conversations about potentially leaving the 212 class, he was like, go, leave. You understand. Yeah. But in Jay way, right?
Yeah.
So you and him had that conversation not so long ago, or was it a couple of years ago?
We had it a few times.
They have it quite often.
It was a couple of years ago.
Mark has these I'm going to come back moments. Okay.
All the time. And I have to remind him.
I think you and I had one of these conversations too.
Me and Angie both say the dream's over.
It was a few years ago when I was closer, and it would have been probably a better time.
Yeah.
When I met you, you were still kind of entertaining the idea.
Yeah.
What year was that, by the way, guys?
2018.
2018, okay.
18. And then, he just basically said, focus on business and making money. And I'm happy I listened to him, because everything this guy tells me is always right. And if I've ever gone against anything, like I opened the gym, he told me not to do it, and ended up losing a lot of money. So I just listen to what he tells me to do, and I know it's coming from a good place. So it was tough, because I wanted to come back, and you know this feeling. I felt like I could compete, maybe not win, but I prepare every day to win in my life, whether it's on stage or in my relationship with my wife or family, whatever. But realistically, when it came down to pulling the trigger, I had to be real with myself and say, okay, what really matters? At the time, I was like 40 years old, or 39. And, she started really taking off, which was like, you know what? I can retire, feel proud of what I've done, and now I can focus on Jenn and be proud of her, you know? So watching her succeed gives me the fulfillment and the gratification of when I was winning, if not more, right?
Yeah.
So Mark, I don't want to...
I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that
because you're part of it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're part of that journey and the legacy, you know? So you take pride in the role you've played, you know?
So.
And also, you know, that dedication and that mindset to become the champion as now being put, you know, the lessons you have learned from the guys like Jay Cutler and all these other athletes that you've met prior to meeting with Jenn.
Yeah, I pass it on to her.
Pass it on to her.
Yeah, and you know, she knows that when I'm, you know, telling her things, or when we're planning things strategically, whether it's business or on the stage, she knows that I've been through it, and I'm just trying to protect her from making errors that I made or others have made, so she can just have that clear path. But of course, I want her to make errors as well because that's how she's going to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I'm not just saying this because she's my wife and I love her, but she doesn't really make any mistakes, man.
It's perfect.
Don't jinx me, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever, we got some wood. Oh, here we are. Here we go. There we go.
You know?
So back, I don't want to hear about a comeback talk. Now you're training with Nick Walker also, okay? Yeah. What is that about, by the way? I've seen you guys going at it.
So, you know,
They're
Nick,
besties.
Yeah.
Nick came here to do your podcast.
Of course.
Right? And
Was that why he came here?
Yeah, I asked him to come
yeah,
up here.
Oh,
Flex
cool.
invited him to the podcast. He came here and I had reached out to him. Then I didn't hear from him for a few days. And then he reached out to me on Instagram. And I said, I had texted you. And then he's like, oh, shit. So we started talking, and he knew that this was our primary gym and that we trained here. And then, you know, he came in. He was doing some posing. He did the podcast. It was a huge success. And he said to me, I really like it here. Mm-hmm. I said, I mean, there's a lot to like. I mean, look at the resources we have here. You know, what's your plan? He goes, well, he didn't really know what the plan was. He was going to do the podcast. He was going to head back, but he enjoyed it so much that he wanted to extend his stay into completing the prep for the last 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks out. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know, like just being a local host, like whatever you need, let me know, and I'm happy to help you. So then he asked me to train, and we trained. He asked me again, we trained again, and he's like, hey, you know, like, I think I want to come here permanently. I'm like, well, you know, get through the prep and then think about it after, you know, because, you know, maybe right now you're in prep and things are feeling really appealing and you're enjoying yourself. And, you know, he's like, man, I'm the happiest I've ever been. I had a challenging year, and I really appreciate you and Jenn being so supportive, and Flex and everyone around in this community. He goes, I just don't feel this where I am at right now. So, I put him in touch with my realtor.
He moved down the street from us.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
They're our new neighbors now.
Yeah, he went out, got a house. He bought a truck. Mm-hmm. You know, he has and he's every day he tells me, he's like, this is the best I've felt all year. This is the best I've looked. And listen, man, my purpose in life is to serve and to help others. And if I'm 43, he's 28, and it's the same thing with Jennifer. I feel like if I can help someone succeed or even be happy every day, then I feel good, you know?
He's happy, bro.
He's happy.
And I even spoken to Mark Jansen, his coach. And even when we had so I don't know if you've seen the podcast, but Nick on the podcast after being here, 2 days? He was like, I'm moving you guys. Yeah. And I'm like, hold on a minute. Hey, first of all, speak to Matt.
Yeah.
Okay? And he was like, yeah, I'll speak to Matt. And I said, you better speak to Matt before the podcast comes out.
Yeah.
You know, before you said, I'm moving you. But Matt even told me that he's never seen Nick so happy. Or it's been a number of years since he's seen Nick so happy. So when you have that mentality and you're happy, I mean, think of so many preps that, you know, before you guys got together, bad boyfriends, bad girlfriends. You know your best. You might have got to the end result and may even won, but the mental torment or whatever you're doing inside the house, arguing, whatever else.
Of course, it plays a toll.
You don't have that best luck. Yeah. My best looks have been with, again, just home life being spot on. Yeah. You know, whatever distractions I've got that are not detrimental to prep, but more in aid of prep. Even when Ali was pregnant, for example, I look at her every morning, I see her like shuffling around the house with a belly. Yeah. And I'm like, how can I fucking complain?
Right.
How can I complain about being tired? And then when we had the baby, then it's just like balancing, okay, well, I've got to do this at this time of the morning. So what I done was kind of in the off season, I would wake up and when the baby ate, I would have a little shake or something too, you know?
Yeah.
So that's being happy. But same with you and Nick connecting with each other and training with one another.
So we've been friendly, you know, for a few years when he was coming here to compete in the USAs. And I've always, you know, really liked his focus. And I liked his physique a lot. You know, I thought actually he should have won the USAs when he took second to Zach. Zach is great, but and we just discussed this the other day. He's like, I'm happy I placed second at the USAs that year because it's all about timing and everything happens for a reason. Look at where I am now.
Yeah, like Jenn, you said that same thing.
Exactly.
Same for me when I went to second in the 202.
Yeah.
I think people undervalue that a lot. You know, how much timing plays a role, and you might not always get what you want, and it might feel like, oh, I just missed it. But then if you wait and just hold on, God's timing is always on time.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it's like you just have to keep the faith and keep working hard, and you'll look back and be like, thank goodness, because I wasn't ready for it then. You know, anything that's ever held from you, it's for good reason.
Sounds like everybody's got the same story. So Nick said about second and not being ready for it mentally.
Yeah, and you know, he expressed to me that he had a challenging year, and he's finally feeling happy, and he loves it here. So we got him set up, and I ask him every day, how are you feeling? Well, not how are you feeling. I ask him, are you happy? He goes, man, I'm beyond happy. And that to me is gratifying, you know, and you know, he's becoming a little bit more isolated now that it's 2 weeks out. But you know, he has his girlfriend here with him, and she's been super supportive, Maria. And then me training with him is more of just pushing him. And the way I train with people is not like yelling or anything like that. It's more words of encouragement. Like when Jen's doing her reps, every rep I said, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best. Or that looked perfect, let's do it again. Another rep like that. You know, that's my way of encouraging through the sets and the reps. And I think he likes that. So, and he'll ask me, you know, what do you think? And I said, well, of course, Matt is, you know, the person you want to reference to, but I'll give you my opinion, or may I make a suggestion? And I feel he feels comfortable with that because I'm a lot older than he is, and he knows that I've been through it, right? So what he's done for me is really pull me out of a rut, because you know, you see me in here for a week and I'll be gone, you know? Yeah. And I was having a hard time not having a goal, coming in and do my workouts, but every week I would be like, you know, Jen was always encouraging me, like, let's just, you know, help you with your food. And, you know, Megan Fit Meals sending me my meals all custom.
Diet starts Monday every week.
Yeah. And I was being irresponsible, and I was failing, right? So when he asked me to work out with him and train with him, and we started training together, I felt like I had a purpose again.
You were lost, Mark, a little bit, you feel, back then?
Totally lost when it came to, because I'm like, you know,
just with taking care of yourself.
Taking care of myself.
Yeah.
He wasn't training, like he would train like once a week, you know, and he would have the intention to do it, but he wouldn't follow through with it.
Yeah.
Wasn't on top of his diet and stuff. And you've been good the last like month. You haven't skipped a training session. He will not skip a training session. I'm like trying to get him to, and he won't.
Yeah.
Bad egg,
No,
take off today, Mark.
Not like that. It'll be like something that like, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I can get you an appointment, but only at this time. He's like, I train at that time. I'm like, okay, well, like you can miss training one day at that time. He's like, no, I can't. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, like, you know what, then make your own appointments, because that's all I can do.
Yeah. So I really have to be thankful to Nick.
Been on track.
Because it's different when it's your wife and it's a female, but when it's like your boy, and you know you gotta show up because he needs you, or he wants you there, essentially.
Babe, that sounds like the whole trainer thing.
What trainer thing?
When someone else tells me to do the workout, and
exactly. So full circle. There we go. Yeah. Because she tells me to do all this, but I don't listen to her. But when
only for the last 4.5 years, but it's
since Nick's been around,
thanks, Nick.
You know, motivation comes from within, right?
Of course.
And what he's done is he's inspired me to, you know, to be there on time, and even though I'm always a few minutes late.
A few minutes.
we all know that I'm not.
Tyus, my producer, is like.
Tyus knows as well.
He knows.
Yeah. But it's been great training with him, and I'm sure a lot of people online are wondering why he's not training with other people, but he doesn't care, and I don't care. He seems to be looking better than ever, and it's, for me, you know, being on the sidelines to observe and witness what she's doing and what he's doing, like...
You can't not be motivated.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point,
you know what I mean?
Cannot not be.
Yeah,
exactly.
like I'm like up here right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, thank you, Nick, for you know trusting me and having me in your camp.
How's that recovery, training with Nick? And don't give me this bullshit about I push Nick. I've fucking seen you doing pendulum squats and whatever else you guys have been doing.
You know, I jump back in there, and my legs are still sore from Saturday.
I'm surprised you've been going as hard as what you have, because like going from like 0 to 100, literally. That's like this morning. He was like my body's broken this morning. You got to go see Karen.
Yeah, I need to get some body work done. But also, like, I mean, we can talk about anything on here, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, I've been like inconsistent with my, you know, testosterone replacement therapy. You know, I was off for a bunch of months, and you know, when at my age at 43, I feel like it's essential. I need it. And when I'm off, I'm just not as sharp or ambitious. I'm not just like the desire is just not there, you know. So since I started back on my therapy with Transcend, and nice low dose, and I'm seeing my body look different. I'm feeling different. That plays a big part, and I'm bringing that up because, even with my clients and just people out there, like, do your blood work, see where your levels are at, because your hormones play a big role, especially when you're in your 40s. This saves marriages. So I'm feeling a little bit more of that pop again.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we just had that conversation this morning.
Yeah.
I had my blood work done yesterday, and there was a number of months ago where I started TRT, and in full transparency, I have purposely tried to lose a lot of muscle off my frame, just because I'm trying to get to feeling a little bit different again. I being 250, 260 at 5'5"
not comfortable.
Is not comfortable.
And you did that for how many years, man?
Yeah. And I was an athlete, though. I had the athlete mentality of making sure that I was nimble.
Yes.
So I thought I was. But now I've dropped a lot of this weight. Now I'm like, oh, wow. Because, again, I came from an athletic background. Gymnastics, running track and field, rugby.
Moving.
Yes. I could still run. I could still sprint. I've kept my ability to do that.
Good.
It's been a couple of years since I've done a backflip, but...
Or walking handstand.
I walk in handstand.
That's cool that you can do that.
He can do it.
That's dope.
But to your point, right?
Yeah.
And now there's been several months, number of months, maybe several, I don't know, where I haven't done anything. Yeah. Not even TRT. Like I done a post a number of months ago. I think there was a photo I posted on Red Rock, and then that got ripped. Or I done a post in the Arsenal Strength, which is not like me. I felt myself a little bit. First time ever, and I was like, embrace the size. So I posted it, and I think he went on Generation IEN, and everybody was like, oh, this is Flax's TRT, and everybody's like, oh, fucking bullshit. It's like, I've been training since I was I've been training this properly since 12, 15 powerlifting, competing at 19. If everything went to shit, then I've been doing this thing wrong for nearly 2 decades. So, and also, I know I'm a big advocate also of getting my blood work done. I've done it throughout my career. I've done it, going into Olympia preps, I was doing it probably every 3 weeks, right? 4 weeks.
This is why you're healthy. Post-stage career. Yeah. Like Jay.
Yeah, we were able to retire with hair.
Yeah. That's it. That was the thing for me. I'm like, I'm not pushing nothing because I'm not losing any more hair.
No.
My hairline needs to stay right there.
And it's not coming off fucking arms and legs. Exactly. It's coming off. But circling back to what you said, there's, now I'm 39, right? Yeah. You're a little bit older than myself. But there's definitely a change, and when I was training with Rafa and John, and I was having a lot of the younger guys coming in around me, Rafa is my Nick Walker.
Right.
Right. And I led the workouts.
Yeah.
I was the one that was there early. If they were late, I was pissed.
Right.
Like, we got to get there by 11:30. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. How was your mum? Your dog died? Shit. What can we do? Whatever it was. 30 minutes. When that 12 o'clock hit, the trainers would come out to the gym in Boca Raton, and then we would go in. So when Rafa came here for a couple of months too, that was kind of like my reset button to be like, okay, this is my commitment. This kid is going to win a show. I am going to get him to that point. Kind of same thing as you, right?
Right.
And I don't do that to anybody. I'm not a coach. I'm not a trainer. I am doing this, and I'm donating my personal time to see this kid succeed. Yeah. And there's a couple other people that I love helping. Yeah. There's no financial benefit for me. Yep. It's more of a passion for the sport.
Yes.
But because I've not had, some of these guys around me for a long time, it's been my excuse. It's been my excuse to kind of like focus on business.
Yeah.
And I've noticed I've caught myself in the last 2 weeks being like, fuck, I am trained. Yeah. I am trained. Yeah. I can't be complaining about losing size. I'm not following any type of routine because I don't like to eat. There's been days where I've like eaten 2-3 meals, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, she's like, babe, when do you eat? Like yesterday, I think I didn't eat my first meal until like 1 o'clock. I didn't even have an appetite. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, because your mind is elsewhere now. You're hustling. You know what I mean? You're trying to do business stuff and.
But I don't want to use that as the excuse because for me, I've lived a lifestyle. So what I've said to myself, and this is the accountability that I've told myself, is I've already made these small little, I would say, vocal changes that I want to make. And now it's just taking heed and doing it, because I have to have a goal. There's always got to be a goal for me. There's this, whatever this is over here. I can't do something without reaching there. Right. So
I'm the same way.
I've said to myself, okay, if I stick to a plan now, let me see what I can do, whether it's an end cap photo shoot or whether it's, the fans following on a journey on YouTube. Yeah, sure. I remember you and I talking about this a couple of months ago. So I totally understand. I mean, you are. You got two champions. The first ever men's physique champion, same time, 212 champion, and both talking about a little bit of lack of motivation. Yeah. So my point in saying this is, it's okay to have these, but you have to really take heed in what is happening and grab the bull by the horns, because I would say I'm highly motivated in so many different sectors in my life. But the main thing that was my stress reliever, right? I sort of put to the background. Right. It's not even second, it's not even third. That was my first love. Then when we met, it became a shared love. Yeah. And then Ali took over. But, this has now been put right to the back burner, where it's not even a thought pattern. So I'm like, wow, I haven't eaten enough today, so I won't train yet. I'll train later. Yeah. And then later I go home, I'm dead. Mm-hmm. And then it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I've even bought gym equipment for my house, so I can eliminate the excuses. So
we have a full gym in our garage too, and I'll be like, just go outside. He's like, no, it's not.
If it's for her or for Nick, I'm there. But for myself, it wasn't the same. Now, like I said, I'm training with him, but and just I want to put this out there. I'm doing this. I'm investing my time because I want to with him. There's no financial exchange. I'm not his coach. I'm just his friend.
Yeah. I know that.
Training partner.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. I didn't think there was.
Yeah.
But also, I think there's the thing that you are gaining from that, and the thing that he's gaining from that is, number one, a friendship, but also he's gaining the experience that you've lived through, and he's gaining a champion mindset and something that he's not achieved yet. You've been there. You know how to walk, talk, and act. Jen's been there. She knows how to walk, talk, and act. And being around that environment, whether you guys are hanging out at the house, where you guys are going for whatever, whatever he's still doing or not doing, when you're around that, you cannot not turn into or pick up that mindset. I agree. You're only good as the circle you keep, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's one of the reasons why Nick has said, fuck, I'm moving. I've got that house down the street to you guys, is because he sees the value that you guys bring to his life. Vegas brings, the gym brings, fill in the gaps.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we're lucky here in Vegas. We have such an incredible fitness community.
We do, right? Holy shit.
How many Olympia titles do we have here? And
even if we tried to count, I think we'd get it wrong.
Yeah, I don't want to offend anyone again.
You will soon have 2. I'm just saying it. You have 1. I have 7. Iris has 10. Jay has 4. Shanique has 2.
Yeah.
Does Ashley still live here?
Ashley lives here.
Yeah, I am seeing her.
Ashley has 3.
Wow.
That's a good amount.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to piss somebody else off. We missed somebody off. I think that might be it.
You said Jay Cutler, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Jay, come on.
That's what I was like.
I think that's it.
Trying to think.
Yeah, but we've got a lot of second and third places too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keon.
Yep.
Chiron, I'm sorry. Chiron.
Yep.
He 3rd place last year.
Nick, he's going to shock a lot of people this year. He is dangerous, that kid.
Got Andrew Jack to the gym.
Andrew Jack's here.
Rafa's coming in this week.
Yeah.
But I would say the people who are living here, we've already mentioned, right? Yeah. And Nick is new to the.
So sorry, guys, if we didn't mention.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Well, we have a lot of.
My excuse is I'm 2.5 weeks.
We have a lot of legends here, like Dennis Wolf.
Oh my gosh, Dennis Wolf, bro.
Tony Pearson.
Is Gustavo still living here, or he moved?
He moved back to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Dragons Lair in particular, we have to say, like, Jenn has really enjoyed her prep here.
We were just talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, and the people here have been so supportive from the top, to the members. Like, you guys obviously have been always so, like, welcoming to us. And just everyone.
It just feels like a family here.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
really
we're
does.
talking about, like it's like a all the members here, it's like I come in and it's just like so much support and motivation, just like the little things that people say, and they probably don't even realize the impact that it has on me when they say it. Yeah. And it just like warms my heart when I get to come in here and like see you guys and like just feel like I'm at home here, you know.
And I know that you guys.
I have to say thank you to you guys for opening up your gym to me and allowing me to prep here.
Appreciate it, champ.
And I know that's the integrity of the environment that you guys wanted to create here. You know, that family supportive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like when even an amateur is competing, the whole gym goes and supports. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, like I said, when Jenn competes, everyone's going to come support. It's really nice harmony here.
Just the community in here is incredible.
That's what we strive to do. But again, listen, it goes back to day one too. It's like when them delivery trucks arrived on the back door, I know who was there. Yeah. You know? Yep. Whether he was there on time or not.
I showed up.
You did. Oh.
And he brought help. Alan came.
too.
He's
when he busted his balls. Yeah. Listen, I know who was there, and again, listen, this gym is being built literally by bodybuilders, right? Yeah. For the bodybuilders, and every put their hat back to front and showed up. I didn't ask anybody. People reached out. Yes. You reached out, and they said, "Hey, you need any help?" You know, R.I.P. Sean Roden was your everyday. I mean, I told Sean no. Yeah. And he still turned up.
Yeah. Sean's
I was like, what the hell? You fucking Mr. Olympia. You're Mr. Olympia. What the hell are you doing? He's like, no, I'm here to help. And I think that's one of the reasons why it succeeded from day one is because of things like that.
And we were so delighted when we knew you guys were coming here to live, you know, like to make sure, like, and you guys have, created such a good culture already in such a short time. So
we love it, Joe. We love it, Joe. Guys, is there anything that you want to talk about before we wrap up this podcast? Is there anything you...
I mean... I don't know. I don't whatever you guys want to talk about. Is there anything you want to say?
Is there anything you guys want to know that you don't know?
I want to... There's a lot of things that I could keep on going on about. I don't know what you guys have got time for, but... Mark, you obviously have been competing for how many years now? When you started competing?
I was 24 when I first did my first competition. So.
And then you won obviously in 2013, right?
I won in 2013.
Yeah. So how many years and how many shows was it until you got to that point?
So my amateur career, I first did, when I first moved to Vegas, I did the Arnold Amateur and I did classic bodybuilding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was the same criteria as classic physique, but we wore...
shorts.
Bodybuilding trunks. Yeah.
Oh, really?
At the time, because it was big in Europe, I believe, and in South America. Mm-hmm. So classic bodybuilding. So it had to be 175 pounds at my height.
Yeah.
Right. And I went into that, and I said, all I want is a trophy, and I'll be happy. I placed 5th. I got my trophy, and then Jade told me about this division called men's physique, and I'm like, wait. So I'm not gonna flex.
Yeah.
And I have to wear shorts. I can't show my legs. So why am I even training legs? Yeah. He's like, no, this is perfect for you. You gotta have abs. You gotta get a little smaller because you're gonna be the best at this. And then George told me about it as well. And they're like, yeah, you're gonna be the best at this. And I'm like, all right. If these two guys are telling me I have to do this, I gotta do it, right? And then it came out, and everyone was really excited about it because not a lot of men had the opportunity to be a bodybuilder that didn't have the genetics to be super large, and just kind of ran with it. I actually didn't win an amateur show until I turned pro. So the first one I did was the John Lindsay show in Culver City, California, at Muscle Contest, and I placed 5th. And that was the first men's physique amateur contest ever on the West Coast.
Oh, shit.
And there was like 60 guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a success. John was so happy. Yeah. And, guys, I was wearing Live Strong basketball shorts. I didn't know what to wear.
Yeah. I'd love to get photos to see that.
Yeah, I didn't know what to wear, right? And they said board shorts, and then people were just kind of confused. But after that show, I remember, social media was just getting popular, and then people were just talking about it online. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. So a lot of guys wanted to get involved. And then the second show I did was the Jay Cutler Classic. It was at Red Rock at the time, where I placed 2nd. As I was walking off stage, I'm looking at Jay. I'm like, come on, dude. I should have won this show.
You told me to do this. Yeah.
And I did another John Lindsay show called the LA Championship in July. In California, I came in 2nd again, and then I did the North Americans. At the time, it was in Cleveland, Ohio, and I placed 1st in my class, and that's where I got my pro card in 2011. 2012, they opened it up to the pro division, and that's when I really kind of took off because there was a lot of hype around the division then. Jay was backing me, saying online that I was going to be the best. And so, it created a little bit of pressure, but I embraced it. And I was like, listen, this is what I came here for. I came here to pursue this. And 2012, I won every show I competed in as a new pro. The LA Championship, or LA Grand Prix, the Europa in Orlando, and the New York Pro.
You had the braids too.
I had the braids when I had hair.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
When I had hair.
I like that look, actually.
I hated that.
I like that look.
I didn't know him back then, but just the stories I hear, I just like them. So I'll just leave. We can leave all that in the past.
Yeah, we'll
whatever was
brush
before
over that.
me, it was before me.
That hairstyle was.
You went out to met Jenn.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, he had the man bun when he met me, and then we chopped it off. It's been almost a year since you chopped it off.
February, yeah.
Just before we got married, you chopped it off.
Yeah.
So the braids are a great look though for that time, I think. Sorry, Jen.
I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this look is gonna work. A biracial guy with braids in his hair. I don't know if I'm gonna be good for magazine covers. So
yeah.
And then I won the Olympia in 2013, which was the first one. And then after that, the guys just got. I was 33, so here I am competing now with 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, and these guys are coming blazing. And
big boys
that's,
too.
Yeah. That's when the division started getting harder and bigger, and I just got passed, and social media was getting popular, and I wasn't very savvy with it. But everything happens for a reason, because today, even though I feel like I really miss competing and I would want to compete again or defend a title or try a different division, I'm very happy with what I've done, and I'm happy with what I'm doing now. And I think that's important for guys that retire, because you still feel like you have some skin in the game, or you can still do it. And I see this with a bunch of other sports where I've been paying attention to, MMA, which we're both big fans of. In any professional sport, there's just a time where,
I think you just have to know, like, some people want to just keep doing it forever, and let's be realistic, you're not going to do it forever. I mean, I'm 26 and I know I'm not going to do it forever. Your time at the top and in your prime is so short-lived. You just have to know when it's time to step away, and when you can no longer keep improving on your package and just move on to something else in your life, because it's not the end of competing. You can still be active in the community, you can still do tons of stuff. You just don't have to be on stage anymore.
Do you have a goal in mind, number wise?
I don't yet. I know when I get there I'll feel it. Okay. So for me it's more about when I feel like I've reached my pinnacle and I feel satisfied. At first I was like, I just want to win one Olympia and then I'm done, then that's it.
It doesn't work like that.
And then we spoke about it. I'm like, listen, babe, I think you can win again.
Yeah.
And then I spoke about it saying, I just know I have so much room to improve, and I want to improve. And we've talked about it a bunch of times. Just, you know how it is. When you're defending the title, it's just a whole other drive. And it's the most incredible feeling, I have to say, because it's like no other prep that I've ever done. I've never been so driven and so focused and just so motivated to defend what's mine, because it's not something that you're chasing after. It's something that's tangible, that you've already achieved that and you've earned it. So I think for me before it was can I do it? And am I good enough? Am I worthy to be, Miss Olympia? And now I had 14 months to sit there I am worthy. I am Miss Olympia. I know I can get even better. So now going into this year, it's just And
it's not because she wanted it, man. She fought for it, And this year, she really fought for it. Being on the sidelines, watching other girls compete and seeing the hype around other people, and she just was like, I'm not worried about anything else. I'm worried about keeping my title.
Yeah, I just focus on me. I mean, that's all you can do in this sport, because there's always going to be new people coming up. There's always going to be everyone improving. But if you're focused on them, you're not focused on you. So I focus on being my best and just improving every single day. When I stepped off stage last year at the Olympia, I had one goal, and that was to beat what I brought to the stage and won with this year.
So have you reinvented your why every year? So in terms of competing, because I had to.
Yeah, I think it changes. When you first get started, first it was just getting to the Olympias. First it was just doing a pro show, and I had no plans to even do well in my pro debut year, and I ended up going to Olympia and placing top 10, and then it was top 5, and then it was top 3, and then it was, win, but did I believe I could win? I wasn't really sure, and now it's, I wholeheartedly believe I can win my second Olympia title. If not, I would have just retired with a win and went out on top. If I didn't believe that I could win and I could be better, I wouldn't be competing. So when people ask, do you think you're going to win? Or something, I said, of course. If I didn't think I was going to win, it would be silly for me to go into the show and compete.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as a competitor, especially a top competitor, if you go into the show not thinking you're going to win, what's the point?
It's all the sacrifice and everything you're doing, you know.
And obviously, like, again, with skin in the game, because when I went into it in 2018, I didn't go in thinking I was going to win, like, you know, not being realistic. But now when you know you're a top competitor, and all of those top girls who are in the top 5 from last year and the girls who are up there, they all should be going into the show thinking they're going to win.
Yeah.
Because you know you put in the work, you know you did everything you can. And if you don't believe you're going to win, there's no way you're going to go on stage and convince a panel of judges you're going to win.
Exactly.
If it's not up here first.
That mental fortitude and that mental sort of anxiety that I used to put on myself for everyone in the Olympias, because there was always a new guy, in your case girl, that's being hyped.
I feel like it's less pressure this year for me. And I feel like everyone's been asking me, like...
But that's because that's how you think. You know, you've created that confidence. And that,
I think my biggest thing was more
she didn't let herself get away from herself and get into the social media and this person is the next whatever. She hasn't let anything come into her.
I think if anything, me, like, having the title has just validated to me that, okay, you've done it, you can do it again. Yeah. Whereas before, it's almost like when the first time you do something, it's the hardest because you're not sure if you can do it. And once you've done it once, like, you know you can do it, and you know it's going to be hard, but you can do it. So I feel like this year for me is less pressure, if anything, just because, one, I know I'm way ahead of where I was last year, and I know I've already improved leaps and bounds, and that's really what matters. But I don't feel the I don't know. Maybe I will soon, but I feel like we're getting close. I should feel it by now. And everyone's asking, like,
I'm happy
do you
about
feel
this.
the pressure? I was like, to be honest, it's way less pressure than ever before, because I don't know. I just don't. I feel like I only feel the support. I don't feel the pressure.
This is exactly where I want her to be.
Great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel
stressing
like
out's not fun.
No.
I've had an incredible amount of, like, support and encouragement and motivation from, you know, everyone around me, everyone online, and just positive things. And I think it just comes down to, like, the energy that you put out there, people feed off on and comes back around to you.
I was just going to say that because even if you pay attention to Jenn's social media, most of her fans or comments are females, right? Because she's very mindful of what she puts out. The message that she puts out, it's encouraging. She wants girls that are coming up, like when she was coming up, to see everything. You know, like
it's very PG.
Yeah, she talks about personal things like, sorry, it might be TMI, but at the Arnold when she won, she had her period.
It's definitely not TMI for me, but whenever I say in a YouTube video, he's like, TMI, babe. And I'm like, it's not TMI. Like, we're adults. We can talk about periods and stuff like that. Like, it's normal.
And it's important to us that she gets her period, whether she's competing or not.
That's a good thing, to be honest.
It's
incredible. A lot of girls don't.
I'm actually going to be getting my period, like, the Monday before the Olympia, so thank goodness I should be safe for Olympia this year. But
how do you dress? Is it like a water weight you have to worry about then, or what?
I mean, it's just you know,
overall,
you feel like shit on your period. Your stomach is like cramping. You have, like, you're bloated. You hold some water, and honestly, you can't do anything. It's one of those things that
mentally it gets with you too.
Mentally too, because you don't feel like you look your best.
Right.
And even if, like, you're not bloated, you feel like you're bloated.
Right.
And then I'd be like, oh, I'm so bloated. And then I'll look back pictures like,
yeah, I'm telling her, I'm like, no, you're not.
And I'm like, you don't see it. You're just you
don't understand.
That.
You don't understand. You're right. I don't understand. But what I see,
can't win, Mark.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like, you literally, if you're a female, you know, you can't do anything. There's nothing you can do to take away that hormonal water retention. It's impossible. So you might as well just not stress about it, and just, if you know you're going to get your period the day of the show, either try and plan a different show. If it's the Olympia and you can't, try and get a little bit leaner than what you want to be. Yep. So even if you do hold some water, you'll be right on track.
And rest and sleep. You know, the more you sleep, the better you're going to look. The sharper you're going to look.
Plan
Thank God we didn't have to deal with that.
I know, right?
Yeah,
oh my God, lucky. You girls, I swear.
And you guys still complain more than us do.
Tell them, Jenn.
I don't complain, do I?
The men are the biggest babies. I'm sorry. I don't know exactly about you, because I don't hear you complain too much.
Thank you. I'm not a complainer.
I'll record it.
Champ.
Okay, I'll record
fucking
it.
champ. No.
But no, men, especially when they're sick, oh my goodness.
Do I ever complain when I'm sick?
I'm not answering any of these questions.
Okay. Well, I guess that's a yes then.
I'm staying neutral.
My husband has a baby when he's sick. He'll be like, why aren't you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. And he'll be like, and he'll be like lying there, and I'll be just as sick, and he'll be like, how are you doing your cardio right now? I'm like, okay, just get up. Like, you're convincing yourself that you're sicker than you are.
I can see that, Mark.
It's safe to say she's my ultimate inspiration.
Yeah, we again, with her in the house and juggling 2 kids, and when I'm feeling like under the weather, it's like, fuck,
I can only imagine,
complain about.
Right?
I complain about when she's been sick. She's still juggling the kids on me.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know how she does it, but
yeah, yesterday she's making my food and doing all this stuff, and I'm like, babe, thanks so much. Like, I thanked her like 10 times because she's like, I know right now she's.
That pasta smelled delicious.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I used to do that actually too. I used to cook all breakfasts for my family when I was in prep.
I don't mind. I mean,
I loved it.
I don't mind it. I'll always like bring him home like food and treats and then cook stuff. I don't really.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I'm not really focused. I'm not food focused in my prep. When you're that close, you're so focused. Like I could care less about food right now.
Yeah, I understand.
It's just you're so, especially 2-3 weeks out. Like people are like, what are you craving? I'm like nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Like
Gold.
that's
The title.
I couldn't even think
The
of
trophy.
something if I tried to. Like
Yeah.
it's just not. It's so far past that.
I know that feeling.
No?
I mean, I would actually buy food for Ali when she was
I do it all
pregnant
the
in
time.
prep. I'd order pizzas to the house. She's like, what are you doing? You're trying to make me fat. No, you're feeding for 2.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, oh, okay.
Just me sitting there. How is it? Is it,
Yeah,
is it good?
I know. And my brother was living with us at the time too. So
Yeah.
he was a eating partner and she was
Yes.
pregnant. So then it would be, I'd come home, there'd be whatever was in the house. I wouldn't
Or
bother
we'd
me at all.
leave.
would
No,
I?
we would leave. We definitely would not bring it home.
You wouldn't. You would
Sometimes
eat
I bring it
stuff.
out. Usually we'd go on like little eating escapades.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way. It doesn't bother me. I
doesn't
actually
bother.
love seeing people eat shitty food.
Me too. I enjoy
I
it.
just live
cheat
vicariously
meals.
through them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Like, I'll also go out like with him if he's gonna eat. I just won't eat. And then we have to have the awkward conversation when the waiter comes by. Like, she's on a diet and they look at him
You're
like
like,
he's the asshole. And I'm like, I'm in, like for his birthday we went out. He wanted to go to Bazaar Meats because he had never been there.
Yeah.
And so obviously it was a couple weeks ago. You know, I couldn't eat anything, so I went and I took him out. And the guy was like, "Oh, you want to do champagne toast?" I was like, "Oh, I won't be like drinking and eating." He was like,
For his birthday?
"Why are you coming
Yeah.
here?" And so then we had to explain. He explained, like, you know, she's an athlete, she's doing this, blah blah. Because at first they kind of look at you like,
No.
"Why are you here?"
Were you pulling your Tupperware box out?
Yeah.
I know that feeling. How many times have you seen that? But
Loads.
yeah, but it's part of the process. You
You
know,
just do
again,
what
that
you gotta do.
separates, you know, the men from the boys, the girls from the women, I guess, right? And you know, the champions from the second placers.
Yeah.
And you were a second placer, and there's also somebody that was second place that you beat. So again, as competitive as the bikini class is this year, and all the girls that are coming up the ranks who are there and everything else, and you having this positive mindset for basically defending your title. I know exactly what you're saying. So when you were talking about having that feeling about not being nervous, the second defense for me was the most exciting one because I'd won it once. There was a lot of people that came up the woodworks are pretty much saying, oh, you only won it because for that year, Kevin English wasn't there, David Henry wasn't there, and a few other people, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, fucking everybody's year this year.
Yes.
So I was excited.
Yes.
I was
That's
excited.
How I feel. I'm just so I
Yeah.
just can't. Also, like when you take time off stage, I just haven't been on stage since Olympia last year. So people
Itching.
are like, I'm excited to see you on stage. I'm like, I'm excited to see me on
Yeah,
stage.
we were in the same boat.
I just,
exact
I'm
same boat.
so excited to get on stage and show off and like unveil the physique that I've been working on that I just like, I'm not even nervous because I'm just so excited to show off my hard work.
And
That's
this year,
all it
this
comes
year
down
she gets to compete against 3 other Olympia champions in her division:
Ashley.
Ashley,
Janet.
Janet, and Issa.
Oh yes, yes.
So
yes.
the best of the best is going to be on the stage, and Jen wants to compete against the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Have you competed about any of them girls prior? Last year's Olympia?
So Janet was the only one who, because Janet had won in 2020,
Yep.
Yeah.
and I was second to her, and then she didn't compete last year, so she's coming back this year.
Got you.
So
That's
it'll be exciting.
That's a great hype right there, right?
Great hype, great hype.
That's what I love about the different divisions and the different storylines that come with them.
It's so
Because
exciting.
when we grew up, it was only, you know, Jay and Ronnie,
That's it.
and there was the battle of them for a number of years, and
years,
you
yeah.
get behind that, and
Yeah.
then you know you're cheering for Ronnie, and then you're cheering for Jay, and then it was just back and forth. And with this year, you girls have the same thing, right? You've got girls who are still supportive of you, but they're like, oh, I'm so excited to see Jenn standing next to Janet, and now all the other past winners are going to be there from the other years.
And there's
What a fucking battle.
57 bikini girls.
Oh my
qualified, so
gosh.
it'll be-
57.
Ali, can you imagine?
Holy
It's gonna be-
shit.
Mine was like 29.
It's the biggest bikini Olympia yet. So the biggest, but also the most competitive. And I think
For sure.
that's
Yeah.
also what pushes my drive too, because it's like you also have these people who can just be like first timers on the Olympia stage, or, you know, they've been making their way up and they might not be a champion yet, but they're right there that they can come and sweep it too, you know. So
the competition is so stiff, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's so good.
Yeah.
That's what you want, though.
Yeah.
You want that. You want everybody to be talked about.
That's the point of competing, you know. What's the point of having weak competition? It's no fun.
No, it's never been. I think it's for the last couple of years. This year's men's open, for example, I think it's probably the best men's open has been for a number of years. There's a lot of athletes that can cause a lot of upset in that top 5.
Yeah, top 5 is going to be interesting.
You know, and you know when you're looking
every
at
category is
every category throughout the line, there's a storyline. You know, Chris Bumstead versus Ramon in the classic, plus other guys that are there in the mix too. Not to be disrespectful, but that is the hype, because obviously I'm tied in with a lot of the guys from Brazil.
Sure.
He's their next up and coming guy, and
he's amazing. It looks like he's made incredible improvements, and
you know,
so it's up for the grabs for everybody. You know,
every division.
Every division, it's going to be good, and it's nice that it's back home in Vegas.
Oh my gosh,
I know.
Much easier.
I know.
I hope it stays.
I know.
Yeah, I asked her yesterday. I said, "Who are you going to put? Are you going to put? I'm from Canada, or you're from? Am I from USA?"
I still haven't decided, because I was like, you know, I kind of wanted to say both, because, you know, being from Canada, it's something that is important for me to like have showcased on stage, because I'm like, I don't really.
Maybe Bob can say from Canada, but
we actually have to.
Living in
Bob's birthday.
That's what I used to do.
Send that video.
Yeah, same me. So we all have to remind ourselves now, since we put it out there.
We all have to do
it.
a video for Bob. I might get him to say, you know, originally from Canada, living in her hometown of Las Vegas, because Vegas is my hometown now, and getting to compete in your hometown is way less stressful than time changes and travel, going out a week
carrying
early.
Food and stuff.
So it'll be nice and relaxing.
Step out of the house unless you're staying in a hotel, but at least it's on the doorstep.
I'll still go to the hotel Wednesday just to get checked in, but you basically get an extra week because you don't have to worry about the travel.
Yeah,
we'd come in a week just to acclimate ourselves to the temperature, because we coming from the humidity of Florida is a dry heat, and then my physique would literally change with us being within that week. Incredible.
Yeah, especially
just the dry heat.
But going the opposite way to Orlando, for example, with like that extra moisture in the air, it does the opposite to you, and then the time change being 3 hours difference. So I usually don't wake up till like at least 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a morning person.
It's not that bad.
And it's like 8 or 9, depending. But think of like on the day of the show when I have makeup at 4:30 in the morning. That's 1:30 a.m. Vegas time. So imagine your body's trying to wake up at 1:30 in the morning to get up and peak for it. It's hard,
it's tough.
you know.
Yeah, it's tough.
Versus this year we make at 6:30 in the morning, so it's doable. It's better.
That's true. That's true. So
and it's on my body's clock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. With us wrapping up the podcast, I think we've been 90 minutes, right? Yes. Yeah, over.
Ours is much boring than others, isn't it?
No. This is exactly.
They're gonna be like everything's just smooth and perfect with these guys, but really it just is. You know?
No, this is what we love to talk about.
Nothing's
these
perfect.
are these. We've had so many different guests in the last couple of months, and everybody's kind of brought different things, you know. And for our podcast, you know, we have a massive fitness following.
Yeah. Great.
So these are the kind of the stories and you know the mindsets and you know you being transparent and vulnerable and certain things you said today is what athletes want to hear.
Yeah.
You know, with us talking about, you know, what we've got going on right now and changes that are happening. So this is real life. This is nothing that we wouldn't even talk about if we weren't together. And this is what the podcast is. It's just 4 friends sitting down talking where you at in life. Nothing's forced. We're not trying to be somebody we're not, you know, because a lot of athletes, unfortunately, they live 2 lives. They're this guy and for media, and then they're that guy there. And you guys are certainly not that in any shape or form. And in wrapping up, and I want to ask this question because I know a couple of viewers will probably ask that. If you guys had relationship advice, because you guys both got with each other whilst you were competing, right? Or tail end of competing, potentially going to compete again. What advice do you guys have for the viewers that are in relationships very similar to yours?
Well, again, the first thing I said about our relationship, it comes down to respect and communication, right? I feel like communication really is the glue to a relationship, and understanding each other's wants and needs.
I think just, like understanding, but having empathy for one another and being able to empathize with what your partner's going through. And for me, like, I'm a Libra, so I'm always see both sides of the story. And even, you know, for him, if he does something and someone gets mad, I'm like, okay, but what role did you play in them getting mad at you? Right. So I think trying to look at your partner's perspective and seeing from the other person's shoes, you know, maybe if you're acting a certain way, just kind of cue to yourself, if you're the competitor, am I miserable to be around right now, or am I someone who I would want to be around? And just remember, like, it's your choice to compete. No one's forcing you to compete. No one's forcing you to be hungry. It's a choice you make every day to be hungry and to do what you do. So you don't have to take it out on the people who love you and who are there to support you. Just make sure to, you know, show your gratitude and appreciation for the people who are in your corner supporting you, instead of taking it out on them. As easy as it can be to give all the shit to the people who are closest to us, try and show your appreciation to them. And because
I know there's a lot of situations, because I coach a lot of athletes, and their significant other is not as supportive as they would like them to be. And even when I hear that or I see that, it makes me like really, I have to be mindful, because the thing is, I love what she's doing and I feel very like invested in it. So I'm always mindful of, like, you know, how I speak with her, and, you know, just knowing her highs and her lows. So, but I think just communicating that just comes with time, getting to know each other too. And I mean, we've been together for like 4.5 years, so we better know how to communicate by now. We're married, so. But even if it's someone who you are with and they don't maybe understand, just communicate with them. And whether it's a family member or a friend or a partner, just be open and transparent with them and say, you know, I really need your support with this. Can you support me by doing X, Y, Z? Because maybe they don't know what you need. Would you give the same advice if somebody, or one of the partners didn't compete and then decided to? I think it's just all about communication, because sometimes if you've never done it, you don't understand. Yeah, you don't understand. And if you can try to help them understand and at least give your perspective, and if they're willing to listen and understand, that's helpful. But if you can't explain what you need from them, how can you expect them to give it to you? Yeah. And the same thing can go with your family, right? Yeah. If your family have never been around the sport and you want to just explain compete, it to them. Sometimes they don't know. I done the same thing. I was actually getting a little bit annoyed in the earlier stages of my career with trying to explain it to my mum. I was like, oh, Mom, you're not going to get it. Yeah. But then I sat down and I thought, okay, to your point, it's like, you got to see it from their eyes. Right. It's not like my mother isn't saying, I'm not interested in this. She was like, oh, what about this? You know, why did you have to? So you realize that there is interest, and there is this, they're trying to learn to support, right? So don't get frustrated because you know the answers, because at one point in time, you fucking didn't know them. No. Yeah. So what comes easy to us right now is the, you know, the day-to-day, but the questions that have been asked to you, you've asked somebody else at some point in time. Absolutely. And maybe we've had better people to be around, mentors or you know, friends that have been more experienced. Again, it's a circle of people who've been around. So maybe this is that, you know, this is that person's the first time, or the mum, the dad, the cousins, whatever. This is the first time somebody's ever seen a athlete, bodybuilder, female athlete doing a show. Yeah. And they're going to ask the questions that sound annoying. Like, why do you have to put tan on? Why? I don't understand. Why you have to do cardio? Yeah. But again, you breaking it down and, you know, truly and letting that person understand why you're doing it. It doesn't have to not necessarily be for a win. It could be a journey to test yourself, to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, so then when you finish when you finish competing, you then have picked up a vital skill of, oh shit, I can do anything in life if I fucking put my mind to it, right? Yeah. And then if you end up being good at it and succeed, and then obviously there's levels to this sport and so on and so on. So I think we all share the same values of what you guys have both said. And again, with our success has come from communication, learning one another. You know, buttons have been pushed over the years, but then realizing it's like, okay, we got to that stage because of what? Was it me? Was it her? Or was it both of us? And I don't know if you want to add to that, but...
No, I mean, we had a whole podcast on it too.
I know, but for the viewers that haven't seen that podcast.
Yeah, no, I completely agree that the communication is there. Obviously, you guys both did it, and we both did it. Yeah. So it was a lot easier to jump over that hurdle from a relationship standpoint. Yeah. But I think it's the family, it's the friends. Yeah. You know, if your partner isn't involved, then yes, telling them how. But in our situation, we all were involved. Yes. So then it's just kind of, it's a little easier. Yes. But it's still not like a walk in the park. Right. You know, you still have, everyone has different needs, you know, and they're at different levels too. So I'm there with the communication ultimately. And that's just really what you need for any relationship. Not just even the relationship of this sport. I mean, I think anyone can attest that.
Is key.
Friendships, mentors, employees, significant others. I mean, that's really like the root of all situations that go awry. If someone didn't say it right or say it at all. So it's pretty key.
And now
no one's a mind reader, so
no, exactly.
Just say it.
Now we're looking forward to having when we get to sit back and look at your relationship and how you guys, have had so much success as husband and wife, mother and father, business owners. These are things that are very admirable to us and inspiring to us too. So these are levels.
Mark is patiently waiting for his family life to start. Mark cannot wait to be a father.
Listen, I know she can win again this year, and I know she can win again next year. So I'm patient. I'm fine. I'm healthy.
Then you'll see little babies running around.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited about that.
That's what I desire most in my life now. Is to be
Once
father.
I decide I'm finished, then we'll move on to that chapter. So that's something that we have to look forward to after. And I think being an athlete, like you said, is not me. Being Miss Olympia is not my whole identity. It's one of my accomplishments. It's something I'm very proud of. It's something I put a lot of work into, but it's just one part of me. And there's so many parts of each one of us that I think not basing your whole worth and value of your identity as an athlete is important, because when you stop competing, you have to make sure you still have other things going on in your life that you can be proud of.
Yeah, and then obviously when you've retired too, which you've obviously kind of mentioned to it, which I see what you guys are doing. I'm very proud of you both. Obviously, I've known you, Mark, for a long time, known you for the last couple of years, Jen, and I've seen your journey both you guys actually, journey to success and all the ups and downs that come with it. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get posted, doesn't get talked about, that becomes part of wearing the crown.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressures and stresses and stuff like that, and we can all, we're all human at the end of the day, right? And we all have to turn up for what we have to do, just as husbands and wives and etc. Yeah. On top of that, when you got the crown on your head and being the champion, it's a massive role that you have to sit back and think, shit, this person has stood in line for me for 2 hours or whatever it is. Yeah. And whatever I say to this person is either going to be something that they'll tell others or talk to me about years down the line or gives a kick to their step. And we're all in very, I would say, blessed positions
to have an impact.
To have that impact.
We have a responsibility, being in our positions to be a certain way, and like you said, there's people that stand there in line to come meet her, and she can say something that could change that person's life.
Yeah, it's crazy,
right? And just
wild,
it's wild.
It is,
because
crazy.
Every time I see her now I'm on this side, and I'm sure you experience this a lot. People will be like, "I've just been waiting to meet you for forever," and Jen is so like normal, right? That she makes everyone feel like it's a normal situation. She doesn't act like
it's just me.
Yeah. And it's just nice that we're all mindful of that, because the people and the fans and the supporters are essentially the ones that you want to do this
help
for.
You get to where you are
exactly.
too. Like those are the people that are there supporting on your best and your worst days. And when you're having those tough days, those are the ones who are rooting you on and cheering you on. And when people are on there talking smack, those are the ones who are going to bat for you and having your back. So
actually, the ones who talk smack stand in line and tell you how great you are too.
The ones who talk smack love to talk smack, and then all of a sudden they want to kiss your ass next. So
you switch up when you win.
Yeah. On that note, and then the closing paragraphs here, Jen, what have you got to tell the fans for this year's Olympia? Stay tuned.
I'm excited to see you guys there. I can't wait, because it's going to be an incredible show this year, just from the stage production to the competitors and the athletes. And I'm excited to show off what I've been working on. So stay tuned, you guys. We got some big stuff coming, and I'll see you guys soon.
And she's going to win too. She messed up hard out.
She's definitely going to win.
I'm going to win. I mean, I've said that a bunch of times here. I fully believe that I can win. And that's not me stepping on anyone else or being cocky, because I believe in myself. It's just knowing that I've made the improvements that I need to. And like I said, if you're one of those top competitors and you're not going into it thinking you can win,
you come in second.
You got to ask yourself why. Yeah, you should be believing you can win. every single person who's going in there and you're a top competitor going in, you should think you're going to win.
That's just the difference between contenders and champions, right?
Exactly. On that note,
good show, though.
It's going to be an incredible show. I'm excited.
Awesome show.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
And I'm excited to see you bring that trophy back in on Sunday, but without getting ahead of myself. Jenn, Mark, appreciate you guys.
Thanks
Ali,
so much.
Straight Out The Lair, out.